Hello again, everyone. My name is Kevin Ayers, and welcome to my video series regarding my unemployment experiences. So far in this video series, we have discussed a higher level overview of my unemployment brainstorming. We've considered the basic stages of loss and the concept of ambiguous loss. We talked about how meaning can be derived from your employment and creating your story about unemployment that you share with others. We talked about the 3 suggestions for taking action for when you feel overwhelmed. We talked about the travel path, the non-negotiables, successful rejection, vulnerability, passivity, and last week we covered the virtual cycle of learning, teaching, sharing, and reaping the benefits of our difficult journey together. If you haven't seen the other videos yet, that's okay. You don't have to watch them in order, so stay where you are, sit down, and get comfortable. Check this one out. If you like it, then check out the other videos and give me some feedback. I want to continue thanking those for the feedback that I've received so far. I do appreciate that. Like I stated before, I do have a mountain of notes in my journal and a lot of topics to discuss. If you have a topic you'd like me to address first, or maybe take a deeper dive into something I've already discussed, let me know. I can focus on those. Also, this is the second part of last week's video that contained so much that I had to break it down into 2 videos. This week's quote comes from Helen Keller. Quote, "Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light." End quote. Last week, we set the stage for this week's discussion of friendships by talking about the virtual cycle of learning, teaching, sharing, and reaping. This week in part 2, let's talk about some of the basic distinctions of friendships that I've noticed along my multiple journeys of unemployment. First, when you find yourself in a situation such as unemployment, I highly encourage you to quickly find someone who has also become unemployed recently. With such a friend, you can attempt to share back and forth your common concerns. You can aggregate your research regarding the unemployment process itself and talk through your experiences with each other about potential employers. There are additional benefits if you are able to find someone from the same or a similar industry because there will be a very large pool of shared knowledge and experience upon which you can build your story. You can quickly expand your story to the point that it contains all the information that you want a prospective employer to know. Just be careful that your story doesn't grow too large to be of good use. I was blessed to be able to have such a friend during my first unemployment experience. It just so happened that I had fired this same friend the week before I was let go. We were essentially in the same situation, just 1 week apart, which created a connection that was stronger due to what we had so recently experienced together. Our pool of shared knowledge and experience was extensive, and this led to many conversations that made the initial transition into and the continued process of unemployment tolerable, or at least not maddening to the point of resigning from the process altogether. When either of us was confused, uncertain, frustrated, or just wanted to walk away from the journey, we could reach out to each other knowing that there was someone else sharing in the journey. Second, there are also benefits if you are able to find someone from a completely different industry because, due to the lack of shared knowledge and experience, you will have to stretch yourself mentally to explain your position to someone with limited knowledge. They may not understand the business jargon that you are using, or the industry-specific acronyms, and you may not understand theirs. This is a great way to hone your story before you get to the interview process itself. It allows you to expand, to clarify, or to remove portions of your story that are problematic, confusing, or may give the wrong impression to a hiring manager. You will find that you will have stories that will be perfect for a private sector job and others for a public sector position. In this second sort of friendship, you will be stretched more and more to clarify and educate your friend regarding your story. This will be most helpful for the positions that you apply for, which are unfamiliar industries, those that you are not familiar with. I liken this type of friendship with the distinct ability to create a much shorter, more poignant elevator type speech to a stranger. The third type of friend that I encourage you to pursue is the one who has been unemployed before and is now gainfully employed, especially if this is your first time going through the unemployment process. You can benefit from the perspective of someone who quit her job, got laid off, got fired, who has also found the path back into the realm of the unemployed. Regardless of the reason for their temporary unemployment, in each case you can listen to each other's personal stories, and this process can be very encouraging, especially if you feel like quitting along the way. These types of friends have the sort of encouragement that is not full of the empty platitudes and idealistic thinking of those who have not taken this journey that you are on right now. If their words at times sound like platitudes or they have an idealistic flavor, give this group of people the benefit of the doubt. Do not write them off. They have reasons to be more optimistic than you are right now. The fourth type of friend is the one that is oblivious to anything you are experiencing right now. I would say a majority of your friends fall into this category. As I have said in an earlier video, if they have not gone through what you are currently experiencing, it may just be a matter of time for them. You may one day be there for them in their time of need. This is the type of friend that can most benefit from our recent discussion about the cycle of virtuous learning, teaching, sharing, and reaping the benefits. You are going to have so much time on your hands for a bit that you have the unique opportunity to cultivate friendships that have drifted away, strengthen friendships with those you have neglected, or just touch base with a large part of the people you may have forgotten about. Here is something that I've had to keep in mind when pursuing friends when it comes to sharing your unemployment experiences. You have to be willing to talk about your current situation. As uncomfortable as it can be at the very beginning, it gets easier with each delivery. 2 days ago, I had a lunch at a seminar with 4 people who were mostly strangers to me. When I was engaged in a detailed conversation with them, I told 2 fairly involved stories. One of them being about my unemployment. Both stories were completely natural, and neither of them was awkward at the time. I did not have to consult notes or consciously select the right words to convey my message. It was very natural. After the long, frustrating process of unemployment, I had achieved a level of comfort and clarity that I thought would have been impossible at the very beginning of this journey. I consider that a huge success. Sometimes with friends who don't know or maybe don't care what you are going through, you have to be willing to not talk about your current situation. If all you talk about is unemployment, be prepared for a number of your friends to dwindle or become hidden along the way. I know that someone who is unemployed can walk amongst the employed and others and would never know of the struggle that you're going through. I've done it myself. Some thought I worked from home or worked at night, but none had considered that I might be unemployed at the time. They were ultimately surprised when they found out that I was indeed unemployed, and that was my own fault for allowing my pride to get in my way. I don't want that to happen anymore. Also, I know that someone who is unemployed can be all consumed with their situation as well. I feel like I'm beyond the point of embarrassment that plagues many of us who are unemployed, or you can see it on the faces of those you know who are unemployed. It has been an arduous journey up to this point. You may not be at that point yet, but if you need help with anything that I have addressed in any of my videos, just reach out and let me know. If you haven't seen the video about vulnerability yet, that may also shed some light into dealing with pride that gets in the way. You have to be willing to be proximate to others while engaging in situations where your speaking about your unemployment is somewhat natural and not forced. Again, it might feel awkward early on, but it's not so out of place as to have a seriously negative effect. People will naturally want to know what you do for a living. And if your story is too much for someone else, then learn from it and move on. What a great opportunity to test the waters, to see if they have any shared experiences. Know anyone in a similar situation, or they may even become a part of your job search network. So what do you think about this topic? I know there was a lot of content in this video that you may want to debate depending on where you are or a friend is along the unemployment journey. Is there something you want to add or maybe something I missed? During your run of unemployment, can you find friendships that are mutually beneficial? Hopefully, you can now see the benefit of having someone near enough to encourage you and to have someone you can encourage along the way of this difficult unemployment process. So, For those of us who have made it this far into this week's video, I will be taking some state level certifications and will be reading, studying, and taking exams over the next couple of weeks or so. I will be back shortly with another season of videos. I may try to fit in a short video to answer some questions I've had along the way. However, when this gets posted, do feel free to speak your minds in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up. If you've liked what you've seen and you've heard here, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so that you will be notified of new videos when they get posted. And until then, take care everybody, and I hope to see you next time.